Okay, so basically Hexologic is on sale on Xbox at the moment, and I thought that rings a bell, and I checked, and I've got it on GOG, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to have a go of it, actually. Now it says something plus something plus something is 5. Right, okay. It's just gone straight into this, basically, so I don't know what the purpose of that is. To the right. Okay, so those little tabs seem to indicate the number of dots required. Oh, you can either have 1, 2 or 3 dots then, by the looks of it, no more. Very Sudoku mechanic, isn't it? So we can have 3 across here. Okay. Four and 4. 5 and 5. There's 2 in there. That satisfies that one. That's going to have to be 3 to satisfy that one, and that will have to be 3 to satisfy that one. Now we want 4. No idea how many levels there are in this. There could be loads. I'm on the desktop, by the way. I was doing some research on Windows. Sort of doesn't matter what order these are in, does it? Oh, but they both have to be 3. Trying to make some decisions about Windows 11 really and adopting it. Which isn't very interesting, I admit. Not in the slightest. That could be a 1, I suppose. No, it couldn't be a 1 because we could never reach a 5 if that was a 1. And it couldn't be a 3 because we can't place a 0 dot in there, I don't think. No. So the only thing it could be is a 2. Leaving that to be a 3. That has to be a 2 because of that 5, and therefore that has to be a 3 and that has to be a 2. There's some nice symmetry. Rotation, albeit rotational symmetry. Got a 9 here. Okay, so the most we can have is 3, so we'll fill out the 6s first, then the 5s make sense, and then the 1 makes sense. We've got 2 here, so that forces us 1. So 2s and 6s are great news, aren't they, really? In lieu of 2s and 6s, the 3 with a length 3 is pretty good as well. And then we've got the 6 here. Well, we've got a 7, so that forces that hand, that forces that hand. We've got no constraints here, except this has to be a 5, so... oh yeah, but there's an 8 there. Oop. I mean, so far everything's pretty solvable via a bit of trial and error. Now we've got 7 here, so that's going to have to be like that, isn't it? That's going to have to be a 2. Got 6 here. That's a 3, so that's going to have to be a 2. And that would have to be a 3 to satisfy that one, which makes that have to be a 1. That would have to be a 2. And therefore, what is the constraint on this one? Oh, the 6. The 10, and the only way to do that, if that is a 1, is 3 3s, isn't it? This could be anything without breaking anything now or in future, so that's not a constraint. This one would have a constraint imposed by the 5. And there's no constraint. Oh yeah, there is one imposed by the 5. That's going to have to be like that, isn't it? So the 9, we've got 4. We need a 5 now. So what happens if we put a 2 there and a 3 there? Now that can be anything we like. Well, obviously, no, it can't be anything we like. I wonder if there's 2 solutions to that or not. I should have had a look really, but... Oh well. I've got no obvious constraints here now. Maybe the 9 can't be reached without 3 3s. And then now the 5... Oh no. It has to be a 1 and that has to be a 1. That has to be a 2. And therefore that has to be a 2. That has to be a 1. Now there's no constraint along here, which is unusual. These all have to be 3s. If it's 4 long. That has to be a 2. That has to be a 1. Oh. And that could be... Oh, there is a constraint. That has to be a 1. Twos work nicely, don't they? 6s could be in any order, 2s and 3s. Now that has to be a 2, therefore that has to be a 1, therefore that has to be a 2. And that has to be a 2. And that has to be a 1. That would have to be a 4, so we're missing something. That one's correct. If that's a 3, that one's correct. If that's a 3, that has to be correct. That's a 3, that has to be a double there. That's a 3, that has to be a double there. What's imposing the constraint on this? The number 9. And the number 7. Oh, and we've got a number 6 here as well. So that has to be a 3. 5, that has to be a 2. So we've got 5, 6, 7, that has to be a 2 as well. That would have to be a 3 to make that a 4. And that would have to be a 3 as well. Now we need a 3 and a 2 in some order. Okay, we need an 8, so those two have to be 3s. That leaves that being only one possible number. That then becomes one possible number. That was easy enough, wasn't it? Oh, so if that's a 2, because we have to have a 2 and a 3, and that's a 3, And that gives me enough. If it was a 3, I wouldn't have been able to put the 1 dot in. That can only be a 3 to make that a 7. And that can only be a 2 to make that an 8. Therefore that's a 2 and that's a 1. Those two have to be 1s to make that a 6. Okay, this has to be a 3. And therefore this has to be a 3. That has to be a 2. Has to be a 2. That has to be a 2. That has to be a 2. That has to be a 2. And that has to be a 2. That has to be a 3. Which constraint does that sit in? It only sits... Oh, it sits in the 11s and the 12s. Now there's 7 dots in there and I need therefore 5 to come out. Doesn't help me here, but with the 11 I need 4 to come out, which could help me. If that was a 3, that would have to be a 2, that would have to be a 3, and that would have to be a 1. There's only one option there, and then there's only the one option here as well. Ah, so, doesn't work. We've gone all the way to the end and it doesn't work. So the only option then is that that is a 2, and that is the 3, that is the 2, that is the 2. There we go. That last one I don't even count up, I just click through until it ticks green because it's going to be one of the 3 options and I'm just not going to waste brain power on working it out beforehand. I'll just try and error it in a weird sense, and I think that's very valid. Like, you've got it down to that final option. Why not? I've got 3 to place here. If I've got 5 in here, I can only place 3 dots, 1 dot. I've got 3 to place, so they have to be 1 dots. That makes that a 2 dot, that a 1 dot, that a 2 dot, and that a 1 dot. That has to be a 2 dot, and that has to be a 1 dot. That has to be a 2 dot because of the 3. Now we've got 4 dots to place here in some order. 14, 10, minus 5. We've got 5 to place across here in some order. Ah, that has to be a 3 dot because of that. So now we've got 11 to place across here. So that's 2 lots of 3. Ah, 6 dots, so they both have to be like that. And that narrows it down now this way. Now that could be anything, and so can that, really, but... There we go. Because there were no other constraints. Like, if they were not both 1 dots, there could have been a 2 and a 3, but in either way, which way? Okay, we've got 3 dots to place across 2 squares, so nothing narrows it down there. 3 dots to place across 2 squares, 3 dots, 3 dots. We've got 6 dots to place across 2 squares, so they both have to be like that. Then we've got 2 dots to place across 2 squares, so they have to be like that. I keep calling them squares, but they're really hexes. There we go. There's only one solution to that. What particular one there, isn't there? Oh, 9 dots. We've got 7, so they have to be 2. We've got 7 off there, so they have to be 3 as well, because we've got 6 to place across 2 squares. Starting to narrow it down. We've got 16, so we've got 6, 6, 12, so we've got 4 dots to place across there, 4 dots to place across there. I think these are all 2 dots, and then that's a 1 dot. Ah, that's not added up to 10 though, has it? Oh no, it has. Wait. 6. They have to be 3 dots. So that has to be a 1 dot, and that has to be a 3 dot. That has to be a 1 dot. Okay. Nothing is automatically making me think, yeah, this is the way it has to be. We've got 4 dots to place across 2 squares. We need the same number of dots to place across the same number of hexes available, or then we go to the less one. So, like this one, if we had 4 dots to place, then it's 1 dot in each. But because we can't narrow it down, there's going to be 2 dots in one of them. And there's nothing that automatically strikes me as narrowing it down, any of these constraints. So we're going to have to go to like... I mean, I would call that second order level constraint. So if that is a number 2, we've got a dot in there and a dot in there. That's first order, like sort of logic. I don't know what the term is. If, however, that was a number 5... Oh, no, sorry, if that was a number 3, we wouldn't be able to do it. However, if that dot was a number 1, we'd forcibly place that, you know what I mean? So we can narrow it down, but nothing like that. So it's like third order logic then. And third order logic indicates what? Nothing so far. That can be a number 3 at most, but it can't be anything else because, well, we know it can only be number 3. Can it be number 2? 2 and a 1 there. You know what it's looking like? It's actually looking like everything's going to be a flipping 2 dot. Apart from that end bit there. Oh. That was the one that if that was a number 5, it had to be a 3 and a 2 dot, didn't it? That's the only combination. Silly me. So all of these have to be 1. That's a 1 dot. That's a 3 dot. That's a 1 dot. 3 dot. 1 dot. 3 dot. Crikey, that did stump me for a bit. We need a 2 and a 1 dot. 2 and a 1 dot again. There's 5 to place here, so we need 2 1 dots and a 3 dot, or 1 2 2. Yeah. Ah, that's the obvious one then, isn't it? Okay, so we've got 5, 9, we've got 4 to place here. Okay, 28. We've got 6 to place across 2, so it has to be 2, 3. That has to be a 2, and that has to be a 3. That has to be a 1. We've got 6 to place across 2 hexes, so they both have to be 3s. That narrows this down to being a 3 as well, and that narrows this down to being a 1. This becomes an 8, and then we've got the final one to place there. Three and a 2. If that becomes a 2, then that has to be a 1, and the 1 plus 3 does add up to 4, so that can be satisfied. That has to be a 2 if it's 10, and that has to be a 3. This has to be a 2, and therefore there's only one option remaining for that. So this is the difficult one. Let's go with the 2 there, because it make that 6, therefore the 3 is there. Just keep incrementing them until we tick the box, no matter which way around they were, and they're both the same. Okay, that's the one we're looking for. That forces a 1 to be in there, and that forces a 2 to be in there. We've got a 2 and a 1 to place in this section here. Right, it's probably easier with the mouse pointer, isn't it? Let's just try that. Oh, the game catcher window. Why won't this NordVPN go? Right. The game catcher window has gone a bit funny. Let me just get that sorted. It's actually, I know this sounds strange, but it's actually easier to learn to use OBS on the PC than it is on. It's easier to use it on a PC. Oh my god! Right, sorry about this. Right, that's better. So there is a mouse anyway. Okay, there's no constraints on this sort of section here, but no. Got a 3 and a 2 to place here. I've got 4 to place across those two. 3 and a 2 over here. Got 5 to place here. Gives us a 2 and a 1. Got 6 to place across 3 squares here. I think there isn't a constraint down here. Three and a 2 and a 3 and a 2 and an 11. Now that's 7, so if that's the 3 that forces 11 to be 1. So I mean I can try all this and see what that looks like. That's the one, that was the constraint there that needed to be met. I didn't see it. I was trialing and erroring it. Okay, we have to place it, so those both have to be 3s. Now we've got no oh yeah, we have got the 5 obviously. We've got 5 across there as well. Then we have got a constraint on this, and then we've got a constraint on that as well. Okay. So that works. So some things are connected, are they? Right. Quite challenging. The most that can be is... I mean, that can be a... so... Cool. Oh, I see. Nice bit of rotational symmetry going on with that last puzzle there. There's 2 solutions to that. Anyway, that one will be satisfied. That one now can't be satisfied. if these two become a 2, then it's always going to exceed number. That can be so one of these two has to be a 2. I'm going to say that one makes that a 2. Ah, okay, it has to be this one. Because then that's a 1, that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 2. 2. 6 across 2 is always going to have to be 3 in each, there's no doubt about it. 3 to place across those two. 4 to place across there. Well, that one has to be a 2, so that one has to be a 2. Ah, that's interesting. So let's start off with the most simple. Ah. 2 and a 1. So the least that has to be is a 2. Okay, that has to be a 1. That has to be a 2. That has to be a 1, therefore that has to be a 2. This is either going to be a 2 or a 3 in the blues. And if it's a 2, we can put a 2 there. So let's go for 2. That suggests to me those all have to be 1s. We'll just go with that being a 1 and see what that does. I mean, that means that that has to be a 3, that has to be a 2. That can't be done then. So we'll make that a 2. Make that a 2. Make that a 3. Okay. Got no constraint on that apart from we've got 4 to place here. So let's place them. We've got 8 to place along here. That means we're going to need 2 3s and a 2. The very least this has to be is 2. Now if it is a 2, that makes that a 3. And then those are all 1s there. Which doesn't work, doesn't satisfy that. Because that's going to have to be a minimum of a 2. Therefore, that would have to be a 2, therefore that would have to be a 3. That's all added up so far. Got 5 to place here, 4 to place here, of which one must be a 2 and a 1, obviously. So it doesn't really narrow it down. We've got 3 to place across these two. We'll just assume that's a 2. Assume that's a 2. That's a 3. 5, 6, 7. Oh, we're over. Got this 6 to satisfy by putting 2 1s down there. So 4, that leaves us with a 3 here. Got a 3 and a 2 to place, and the most that can be in one of these is a 2. Therefore that's the 1 and that's the 3. Therefore that has to be 2. The most that can be in these two is the 2s and 1s, and same for those 2 there, 2 and 1. And that has to be all 1s. So we know what these 2 are anyway, and that therefore becomes a number 2. That has to be a 2, sorry. So we're doing okay. We've got 6 to place across 2, so those both have to be 3s. That makes that number 1. We've got no constraint, although we've got a 2 and a 3 to place here. There have to be a 2 and a 3. Again, a 2 and a 3 here as well. I mean, it is a valid form of logic to say, if I place a 2 there and place a 1 here, does it logically hold up? It's neater to do it in your mind than having to commit it, but sometimes to really trace it a level deep I have to commit it. So I could take that approach. I'm just reluctant to. But I mean, I could go, alright, assume that's the 2 and that's the 3, then can we satisfy this whole thing now? We've got 6 there. No constraints on that one, that's the trouble. So I don't like that because we can't get across there. What about this? Well, the most we can have in these 2 is a 1 and a 2. So if we went for that, and we went for that, that becomes a 3. There's not enough in there. So that has to be the 2, that has to be the 1, that has to be a 2, that has to be a 3, and then that has to be a 3 as well. Okay, so we just need now any number to satisfy that 14, and there we have it. Okay. No immediate constraint on the blues come to mind other than it can't be a number 1, so it's got to be a 2 or a 3. It can't be a 3 because that would mean we'd have to put 1 in either of both of these anyway, which would make that 5, so it has to be a 2. And then we can fill out that with number 1 in it, and we can fill out that with a blah 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 in it, and we can fill out that, and we can fill out that one as well. Okay. Anything about this? Well, it can be a 1, 2 or a 3 according to that constraint, and the number 9 means that we have to have 3 dots in each. So that much is done. That then has to be a number 1, that has to be a number 2, that has to be a number 1. So we've got all this section sort of to do now, and that's it. We've got 6 to fill over 2 hexes, so they both have to be number 3s. So that's that nice that that's done. That now leaves that to be a number 1, that to be a number 2, and that to be a number 2. But oh yeah, that's a number 2 now because of that constraint. Great. So 10 minus 8 gives us 2, so those both have to be number 1, so that has to be a number 3, that has to be 8 number 2, and those both have to be 1 dots. Done. Level 46. Seems to be getting easier. There's too many 4s for it not to be like this, I think. Oh, you're joking. Level 50. Got 3 to place there, so 2 and a 1. And if that's a 2 and a 1, that means two and a 1. That means purple can only ever be a 1 or a 2 as well. If purple can only be a 1 or a 2, and that can be a 1 or a 2, they both have to be 2. That has to be the 1. That has to be 3. Well, that's a 1 dot to satisfy that constraint, and therefore that's 3 dots, and therefore that's 2 dots, and therefore that's 2 dots, and therefore that's 3 dots. We've got a 2 dot here, that's 2 dots, that's 2 dots, that's 3 dots, that's 1 dot. We've got 6 to place across 2 hexes, so that's how they're placed. That's then placed like that. That's placed like that. Placed like that, and then we're satisfying this one, so 2 dots. Ten dots, 5 dots, so that's going to be 2 or a 3 in there. 2 or a 3. We've got 9 dots to place, so less 6 dots. So the most that can be is a 2 in there. And therefore that has to be a 3, that has to be a 1, that has to be a 3, that has to be a 1. That has to be a 2, that has to be a 2, and that has to be a 3. Level und, oh no, 9. 53. Number 53. Okay, those both have to be 1 dots to make that an 8. They can't be any greater than 1 dots. So what does that help? Anything over here? Well, it does, because that has to be then be a 1 dot to make that a number 8. No, it doesn't. 5 plus 1 is 6, so that has to be 2 dots. Cool. We've got 2 and a 1 to play there as well. And a 2 and a 1 to play there as well. It doesn't really help us with the orange at the moment. That adds up to 5, so that means that has to be 3 dots. That forces that to be a 1 dot. That then forces that to be a 2 dot. Are there any constraints along here? And there's not really, is there? So we'll have to come back to pink in a second. We need 3 dots in there. We need 1 dot in there. 2 dots there. 3 dots there. 2 dots there. 1 dot there. I don't know if the path is the same path that everybody would take or what, really. Okay, so the most that this orange can have is a 2 or a 1. Can't have a 3. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if that can be a 2 or a 1, and we've got 3 to place, that has to be a 2 or 1. So the blues have to be 2s or 1s, and the oranges have to be 2s or... Because that has to be a 3 or a 2, doesn't really narrow anything down. 2s or 1s. Be a 2. Oh, wait. That has to be a 3 or a 2. But a constraint somewhere else meant it was the 3 or 1, so that has to be a 2. Therefore, that has to be the 1. So we can fill this one out now. We can do that one. And we can do that one. We can do that one. And we can do that one. That one. And we can do that one. We can do that one. And we can do that one. And therefore, we can do that one and that one. So it's useful looking at it in terms of constraints. That helps narrow down stuff. Okay, we've got 5 to place, so we've got 3 and a 2. Got 5 to place there, so we've got 3 and a 2 there as well. 4 to place across those 2 hexes. Ah, those 2 have to be 3 dots, don't they? That means that has to be a 2 dot. And that has to be a 2 dot, that has to be a 2 dot, and that has to be a 3 dot. Okay, so just this one now. So we've got 2 to place across 2 squares, so that narrows that down. That therefore has to be a 3 dot. That has to be a 2 dot, and that has to be a 2 dot, and therefore there's only one possibility remaining for that. So yeah, it's about looking at narrowing down the possibility space, isn't it, for each one? And that's the quickest way to solve these, I think. There's no constraints that strike me as obvious for this. 13 minus the 5 leaves 8 across 4 things. That was a 3. Make it. Has to be a 3 or a 2. It can't be a 1. So it has to be a 3 or a 2, because to make up 8 we need at least 2 3s and a 2. We need exactly 2 3s and a 2. There's no other combination that will do it. You can't have 2 2s and a 3. I mean, so it has to be a 2 or a 3. And that has to be a 1 or a 2. If that's a 1 or a 2, and that's a 2 or a 3. Supposing that's 3. 5, that could be a 1, that could be a 3. Supposing it's 2. Well, it's got me. Thank God. Honestly. They've all been not really thinking challenges so far. We need a 2 and a 1 in these. Why does it have to be a 2 or 3? Oh, because of the 8. And then one of these would have to be a... One of these would have to be a 3. We could have 2, 3, 3. Or 3, 2, 3. Or 3, 3, 2. Ah, that 5 means there's a 2 and a 3. It has to be played here as well. But we can't ever play a 3 in one of these two here, because played a 3 in one of these two, the other one can't be a 0. So that has to be the 2. Therefore that has to be a 3. We've just got a 2 and a 3 to place here. Well, that has to be a 1. And because of that 4, that has to be a 3. So there are 2's in there then. Now, 12 minus 9 is 3. That means we've got a 2 and a 1 to place. Now, one of these two can't be the 1, so the 2's going to have to be there, and the 1's going to have to be there. That's going to have to be a 3, and that's going to have to be a 1 because of that 4. That leaves us only with one option for there, and it leaves us with a 2 for there. So we've got this 2 to work on this side now. And I like the way they're sort of mutually exclusive, but also it's just two different puzzles, isn't it, in a way? With a starting block of 2 on this one. Okay, so we need a 2 and a 1 here. Now if that's a 1, that becomes a 3, that's fine, no issue with that. What happens if that's a 2? Then that becomes a 2. That becomes a 2, so no issue with that as well. Ah, but that becomes a 3. But that seems to work out, actually. Quite nicely. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 1. So we've now got 6 to play, so we've got 3, 2 there. 10 minus... Oh, wait. 8. Lovely. One second, let's just see how many levels there are in Hexologic. Hexologic number of levels. 91. 90. Fine by me. Okay, so these 5s constrain these to be 3s and 2s. We've got 3 to play, so that has to be a 2 or a 1. Can't be any more than that. The 1, that could be a 2. If that was a 2 plus 5, 7, that would have to be a 2. 2 or a 1. We've got 6, 13, 18 off 33. That leaves us with 15 across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. If that was a 1, it couldn't be, because that would be a number 5. So if that was a number 2, then that would force this to be a number 2. Which is fine. If it was a number 3, it'd force that to be a number 1. Now if that was a number 1, then that would have to be a number 2, that would have to be a number 2, that would be a 3. So far, 3 plus 4, not so bad. There we go. $15 across 3. Oh no, 15 minus 7. 8 across 3 squares. So we know we've got 2 3s and a 2 in there. Same here, that's a 3s and 2s. Threes and 2s. Now they can't both be 2s. We can't have 4 like that. So one of these, so we've got 2s and a 1. So that would have to be the 2. It can't be the 1 because it wouldn't satisfy that. That has to be a 3. Those both have to be 1s. There, that has to be a 3. Okay, so that has to be a 3, that has to be a 1, that has to be a 3. That has to be a 1. That has to be a 3. Oh, that can be anything. Because that one has to be a 1. Okay, cool. Nine minus 5 is 4. That doesn't narrow anything down there. Those can be 2s. Those can be 2s or minimum. That has to be is a 2, isn't it? That's the absolute minimum. 2 plus 6 is 8, so that would make that a 3. That made that a 3. We wouldn't be able to satisfy that. The most that can be is a 2. That satisfies that one anyway. That's the 3. Well, oh yeah, 3s and 2s. We've got a 3 to place and a 2 to place. Now if we place a 3 there, that... Got 4 to place across there. The most that can be is a 2. Could be a 1, but the most it can be is a 2. 1 or a 2. Doesn't really help matters. Ah, there's one here, 13 minus 7 plus 5. Leaves that as being a 1. We've got a 2 and a 3 to be placed in here. Now we can't have the 3 there because then there's nothing in there, so that has to be the 2. Therefore that has to be the 3, and that has to be a 1. 9 minus 6 is 3. (12 minus 7 is 5, so we've got a 2 and a 3 to be placed in here, but we already know the 3 is going to be there, so the 2 will be there. And therefore that has to be a 1. And that has to add up to 11, so that has to be a 3. That side's almost done, isn't it, really? 8 minus 7 leaves us a 1. 8 minus 6 leaves us a 2. 7 minus that leaves us a 1. Two-thirds of the way there. Maybe I should call it a day. $90 levels. 6 different zones. Oh, let's get it. Have a go. Let's have a go. Nothing obvious to me yet. 12 minus 7 is 5. Seven minus 7 is 4. Got 2s and 1s. Yeah, okay. So the only way to make up a number 4 with 3 hexes, you can't ever have a 3 in one of them. The most these can be is 2s and 1s. So the most that can be is a 2 or a 1. And if that can be a 2 or a 1, that means that has to be a 3 or a 2 so far. 2, 1. That has to be a 3 or a 2 as well. And if those two, 3s or 2s, the most that that can be is a 2 or a 1. They can't both be 3s at the same time. So let's assume that's a 1, that's a 3, then that becomes a 1 as a 2, sorry. It can't be a 3. Because that, okay. So let's assume that's a 2. And that's a 2. And that's a 2. And so far, so good. Now we've got 4 to find across 2 squares there. Got 3 to find across here. 7 plus 4, 11. We've got... That has to be 2 there. -11 -9. There we go. So that has to be a 2. Cool. Inequalities. You bastard. You bastardo. You bastardo. 2 is greater than 1. 2 equals 1. So they have to be equal on either side. The minimum that can be 3, 2. Il bastardo is a very difficult. 1, 2, 3. That has to be in that order because there's no other way. You can't have that being a 2 and that being a 3. There's nothing greater than that. It has to be like that. That has to be a 1, therefore that has to be a 3. 2 equals 2 greater than 1. 2 equals 2, which is greater than 1. Okay, sort of makes sense. Okay. Do you read the equal sign before inequality, maybe? Does that mean both of these on this side are greater than both of these? What? I think it's directly adjacent, that's what it affects. The most that can be is a 2. Two is greater than 1. 3 is greater than 2, that's a 2, that's a 3. And 3 and a 2. There's no constraint along here, so oh, I missed that. We need a 2 and a 1. Oh, that equal sign affects. What? Okay, now we need 5. I'm not, but, oh, that's very confusing, so it affects Not just directly adjacent the whole thing. Okay. We've got 9 to 5. So that's probably saying that like 3 and a 2 greater than a 2 and a 2 or something like that. There's 6 there. Shit. Six, 9. Right, what's that equal sign doing that? 6. Well, those two have to be like that. And that limits these to being just 2s and 1s. Got another equal sign here. They have to be like that, and that has to be there then. Now, if that was a no, that can be a most 2. It won't hold up, so it has to be. That has to be a 3. Be a 2. Looks good to me. 2 there, 3 there, 2 there, 1 there, 1 there. Oh god, so that's all of those. And the most that can be is a 2. And the most that can be is a 2 or a 1. So that has to be a 3 or a 2. Why is the most that can be? Oh yeah, yeah. That can't be greater than nothing, so that has to be a 2. In which case that has to be a 1, and therefore that has to be as well. That has to be a 1. That has to be a 3. And I imagine to have half a chance. Oh, that has to be a 1 there. Be greater than that side. This is going to. I imagine this will have to be a 3, this square here. That's going to be a 3, and that's going to be a 2. That'll be a 2, and that'll be a 2. That'll be a 2 there. Let's assume that's a 3, 1, 1, 3, 1. That's going to have to be a 2. So that'll have to be a 2. Have to be a 3. Got 7 there. What place? That's all 3 of those. Oh. So the least that can be is a 3 or a 2. If it's a 3 or a 2. Let's go for it being a 3. And that being a 2. Therefore those have to be 1s. That would have to be a 3. That would have to be a 1. That would have to be a 3 as well. Now that would have to be a 3. That would have to be a 3. There are no constraints here. The most that could be 2. That's a 1. So we've got 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like patch at the end there. Mikey. Well, they have to be 2s and 1s, and there's a greater than that determines which way round they are. Now we need a 2, 1, 1 to make up a 4, but a 2 can't be less than anything, so that'll have to be a 1. That would have to be a 2, that would have to be a 3, that would have to be a 1. Wait. That's a 1. That would be the 2. That would be a 2 there. Okay, so we need a 1 and a 1 there. That would have to be a 2 there. That would have to be a 2 there. That would have to be a 1, that would have to be a 2, and that would have to be a 2, and that would have to be a 3, that would have to be a 3, and that would have to be 1. And this greater than is affecting everything, so 3 is greater than 2. There can't be a 2 in here because we can't have 1, 1 and 2 be less than. It could be a 1, and it can't be a. It could be a 3. Those two combined, isn't it? We need a 2 and a 1, a 2 and a 1 here. Three and a 2. Gonna have to be the 3. That'll have to be the 2. That'll have to be a 2 as well. That'll have to be a 1. That would have to be a 3. That would have to be a 3. We need a 2 and a 1. But we don't know what order. if that was a 1, that would have to be a 2. And that would have to be a 3 to satisfy that, so it's not going to work. So that could be a 2, that's a 1. Oh, something's broken. 3 equals 2 and 1. Oh, that's it. That's the only combination that will work. Now 2, so that that can't be a 2. Oh no. Oh, it can be a 2, because I could have a 3 is greater than 2 in there. If it was a 1, that would have to be a 2, which would also work out. So it doesn't really. So I know it's a 1 or a 2 in there anyway. That's a 1 or a 2. That's going to be the 1, that's going to be the 2. To 5. We've got 8, so 3, 3 and 2. Well, let's assume that's a 2 and that's a 2. And that could be a 3. Ah, that's a 1. Yeah, I'm not whizzing through them right now, but to affect everything either side. Right, we've got a 3 and a 2. That's going to have to be the 2. That'll be the 1. 3 equals 2 and a 1 somewhere. That can't be the 1. That'll have to be the 1, and that'll have to be the 2. The way that's going to work out, isn't there? Got to find a 3 and a 2. That won't make sense, would it? Oh no, yeah. 3 and a 2. Got to find a 3 and a 2. That's a 2, that would be a 1. That's at least going to have to be a 3. I think. Can't be a 2 because, yeah, so the smallest number it can be is a 3. That would have to be a 1 then to satisfy that. Now I've got to find 3, a 2 and a 1. 2 and... This one's a bit... So again, the least that can be is a 3. And then those can't be 2s and 1s, they'd have to all be 1s. They would have to be like that. They would have to be 1s as well. That would have to be a 2. And then that would have to be a 3. That would have to be a 1, and that would have to be a 3. Okay. Wow. They can't be, the minimums can't be 1s, but they could be a 2, couldn't be 3, but it could be 2, 2. So the minimum these x's can be is 2. Oh no, that's got to add up to 4, and it's got to have a greater than, so the only viable option is that, isn't it, really? That leaves me with 5 to play with over 3 things, and the only combination that would make up 5... 2, 2 and a 1, yeah. There's loads that make up. That can't be a 1, it has to be at least a 2. Therefore that has to be a 3, and therefore that is a 2. And if we've got 5 there, and we've got 2 and a 1 to place here, that can't be a 1. That has to be a 2, and that has to be a 1. And we know that that really has to be at least a 2. To satisfy that. Let's just carry on assuming that that's a 2. Okay, cool. Got a 3 and a 2 to place. Why is it not done? Two. Oh dear. 2 does not equal 1. Oh god. Right. We can't have like that. And we can't have a 3 and a 1 because of the inequalities. But if the only option is to do it that way, that is the only option. Okay, so the mistake's not there. Now we can have 1 equals 1, but if we had 1 there, that would mean that that had to be a 4, and we don't have a 4. So that has to be a 2, and that has to be a 3. Now that can't be a 1, even though 3 is greater than 1, because 1 does not equal that. So that has to be a 2. Therefore those have to be 1s. So far so good. That has to be a 3. Now that has to be a 3 and a 2. If it was a 3, it's not possible with the equality, so that has to be that, and that has to be that. Therefore that has to be a 3. Okay, that has to be a 1, and therefore that has to be a 2. 3 equals 2 and a 1, which is fine, we just don't know what order they're in yet. And this left side has to be greater than that side. Okay, we've got a 2 and a 1 to place now. That can't be a 1 because that means 4 can be greater than... that could be a 1. That has to be a 2 and a 1 there. In what order, I don't know, so I'm going to go for that order there. That. All good so far. So, let's go for a 2 there, a 1 there, a 3 there, and 2 there. Don't quite know how that differed to the first attempt. Obviously it did. What? What? Don't understand. Not 100%. Oh, that's a viable solution, isn't it? But the minimum dots is one in there. So we're looking at minimums now. We need one of these to be a 2. Well, the minimum that can be is a 2. So that could be a 2. Oh no, that could be a 3, and that could be a 2. That satisfies that. That could be a 2, but it doesn't satisfy that. It has to be. Ugh. So we're going to need 3 in each of these, because to get that up to 9, that's going to have to be a 6. These are all number 1s, apart from there's a number 2 in there some. Okay. We've 2 and a 1. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting. We have to have a 2 and a 1 in these blue and purple squares. I think it's going to be the blue that's the 2. Therefore, that's going to be 3, 1, 2, 1. Interesting. Not. 2 and a 1, basically. Well, let's go for it this way. Not adding up to 7 though, is it? One and a 2 somewhere. That makes a 5. I don't know why dickheads have done that. Ridiculous. Oh no, I thought that 3 was pointing down that way. Anyway, it's probably going to be something like this, isn't it? There's no constraints on these. What? Oh god. Right. We need a 3 and a 2 in there. So let's assume it this way round. That makes that, it's going to have to be a 2. Okay, maybe it's going to have to be a... That won't add up. So, interesting. So the only way that that does add up is that way round. Okay, so we can be certain about that being correct. Okay, if that's correct, 2 and a 3. So last time I put... So let's put the 3 in this time, and the 2 there. So we need 8, 1... Can't do it by myself, so 1... But we're over now. Right here. Yeah. Oh god. Oh, this is an interesting one. Not. No, it's alright. to make an assumption on that so far. Now, -3, that leaves us 8 between two squares, so we're short of 2. Six, only 10. Five is after. Oh, you bastard. Level 86. This has gone wrong. Oh God. What's happening? Christ. No more. No more. The most that we can... Right, okay, so... Because of that 4, the most we can have in the purple is 3. Alright? But if we want that to add up to 8... Oh, we can always put one in here, can't we? Now that's gone a bit Pete Tong. That's the most we can do in there. Now we need that to add up to 4, so we're going to have to plop 2 in there. We're going to have to put at least 1 on there. Maybe even 2. Get that to add up to 8. Okay. That's going to have to be a 3. Now for this to be 7... At least one in there. Anyway. 5 is always a 3 and a 2. So there's at least one in there. Ah, makes sense of that too. Sort by 2. Oh. Cool. Let's make... Well, these all need a minimum of 1 on them, don't they? We know that much. So it's how much do we increase it from there, type thing. That everything has a minimum dot on it. So now what do we start increasing? Well, we need that to be at least a number 4. So let's put 2 dots on that. Even 3 dots on that. That's number 4 now. So that satisfies that. That satisfies that. That satisfies that. We've got a problem here. We don't want that many dots. We don't want 3 dots on. So let's bring that down to being a number 1. Okay, so we need another dot there. Oh. That would have to be 5 dots. So another orange one. That satisfies that. Okay, cool. That's that one satisfied. Okay, that's that satisfied. That's going to be a 3 dot there. So I'm expecting this to be the last level, but I'm sure on the Xbox one it said it had more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just make that assumption again with all the 1 dots. So we're going to need at least 2 dots. Oh no, we could have 3 on one of these as well. Oh, and there's 5 to be had there as well. Which means probably... No, I could increase that by 1. That does break that, but it gives me that. We've got 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of these has to be. Let's make that the 1 dot and that the 2 dot. Okay, I don't like my fudged logic. Right, purples have to have at least 2 dots on them. No, that's not correct. One can have 3 dots and one can have 1 dot. I've got 7 dots to distribute over these faces. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, this is a logical step to look at the minimum number of dots. Now, that means I've got to place 2 more dots down along here. So by placing one there, that brings that one closer to 6. One of these is going to have to be 2 dots. That makes that now 7. It's only the 6th. That breaks it now. That only has to be 1 dot now. That could be 2 dots again. That could be 1 dot. Nothing else to play with. Oh wait, that could be 2 dots. No, it can't. So that has to be there then. That's it. Can't even be that. It has to be 3 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Need another 2 dots. Six off 11 gives us 5 over 3 dots. I'm pretty sure about these, so that gives us 5. There's a 2 and a 3. I mean, that would satisfy that constraint there nicely, but it's not definitely the one because that also satisfies that constraint there. So do we want to carry 1 or 2 dots over into this? Well, 6 from 11 is 5. We carried 3 dots over. Those could both be 1 dot. So if we carried 2 dots over, 2 and a 1 to... That'd have to be the 2. That'd have to be... That would have to be 3. Damn it. Well, oh my god, I was so close. One, 2, 3. 1, 2. That would then have to be a 1. And that would have to be a 1, 2, 3. If that was going to be the case. Now we've got 4 dots to place over this here. Got 3 and a 2 to place here. Now, assuming that's a 3 there, we've only got 1 and 1 to place there. 3 to place there. 3 to place there. That doesn't add up to 7. So that would have to be 3. That would have to be 2. That would have to be... That doesn't add up to 6 now. So... It does add up to 6, but then we're... Nope, still doesn't add up to 6. But that does add up to 7. Oh god. What happens if that was a 2, a 3, and then we just put one more on there? Christ. I love it that this is the last one. I think it is the last one. It's not been a breeze at all. Okay. Let's get this done. We know that the 2 oranges have to add up to 5. Right. And in order to add up to 5 for 2 things, it has to be a 3 and a 2. So we just don't know which one's the 3 and which one's the 2. Same for the purple, although there's a lot more options there. We can either have 2 2s, a 3 and a 1, or a 1 and a 3. But the purple and the orange have to add up to 6 here. So the minimum that this square is going to be is a 4. If that's the case, then this has to be 2. Oh no. Oh yeah. This square is going to be exactly 4 somehow. Like that. So that has to be 2. In which case we're going to take these purple ones back out, because that's the only thing we know so far. That has to be 2. What about this? Well, we know that that's going to be 5, so that has to be a 1 there. Because if that's 5, that's going to have to be 5. And if that's a 2, to make that a 5, that has to have 3 dots in there. So we know this bit. So what do we know is correct? Ah! That, and that. The 3 we filled out are correct. Okay. Now, if that has to be a 1, and we need that to be 4, that has to be 3 dots there. So far, so good. Right. Everything else now is... So 3 dots there, 2 dots there. We've got a 2 and a 1 dot to play, so 2 there to make that 7. 1 there. That has to be a 1 to make that a 3. That has to be 3. And then 1, 2, got 5. So those 2 have to both be 1 dots, and then we've only got the 11 to finish off. Okay, it's taking me longer than I wanted to play on the game, but there's no point in like dragging it over 2 sessions. Done. Pleased with that. Wait. Oh, that's the credits. And is that like, that's the dark side, is it, or something? Oh, this reminds me of 2 dots, really. But what happens when I'm playing like that, you know, like that? Oh, I don't know. Oh well. It's done. It's over and done with. Catch you later, alligator.